Hello, this topic is going to be for very serious collectors because the bars I'm going to show are more unusual and ones you'll never see perhaps ever or very rarely. So this bar here is a PAMP bar. It was described as a prototype. At the time, it was, I would say, the most expensive silver bar I bought. It's still probably one of the most expensive silver bars I bought per gram, if you want to talk about weight. Now, it's in a plastic sleeve. That's actually a small currency holder that I put this in so it would get less scratched up. And because I care about keeping my silver in as good shape as I can. So I care about it. So I of course, put it in a sleeve. Others, might not care or don't want to spend the extra money to do so, but I do. So this bar, again, is a prototype as it's described. It is the size of a lot of the calendar bars. So the calendar bars are long, thin. This is only 50 grams. It has this surface that has all these little, it's like a texture. The edges are nice and proof, but the inside, it's like a frosting. And on this side, you see the weight. Here's the PAMP logo on the bottom. And the whole top basically has nothing on it as well. So it's a blank bar, and that's the topic of today. PAMP bars, in particular silver bars that have a blank side. So perhaps this was made as a prototype for a calendar type. Um, it was described as prototype. Is it really a prototype? I don't know. I have not seen a single one like it ever again, so this is the only one I've seen like it. It's definitely an unusual bar, though, for sure. And I thought that'd be a perfect introduction to this topic, seeing something like this, especially since it's so rare. Now, this bar does have a blank side, which was engraved as Harley Davidson show and the year 1993, so 5/6/93. I'm guessing that's June 5th, 93. This would have been a blank bar, but someone engraved it, and I'd still definitely put that in the category of engraved PAMP bars. Now, this has the back you would normally find on Italian Cities bars and a number of other bars from the 80s and 90s. This back also has a lot of room for engraving. I've seen a lot of these bars with this exact logo have engraving on the top area, but this side's completely blank other than the engraving someone used on it. So my guess is these bars were made specifically for it to be engraved. Of the blank bars that you'll find that PAMP has made, this is probably going to be the easiest to find and most common. So it's a 10th ounce. Actually, I got a few of them. I got 5 of them here. One side is completely blank, and this side has the PAMP logo on the top, 10th ounce. You will find these with a little hole drilled through the center, and these were used for watches. So PAMP watches had this bar. I guess there are a number of them that got out without having the hole, because I got a bunch of them here. They can be pretty expensive, even despite the small weight. Now, based on the logo on the top there, this is likely to be about 1985 and later. So let's put an estimate of 85 through perhaps early 90s. So it's a simple little bar, 10th ounce. Again, you will find this with the hole drilled through the middle. That one is more common maybe than the one without the hole. What do we have here? It is pretty rare for sure. It is a blank bar here. You see that on the back. See the PAMP logo, half troy ounce, and you notice the troy ounce, the style of the text with the overlapping letters. Yeah, that's an unusual one. I've seen it elsewhere, but not very often. That is likely mid 80s to late, or excuse me, mid 80s to mid 90s. That's just a guess, purely guessing, because honestly, no idea what it is. Now, this comes with a chain. And if we look at this little plate on this chain, on this side, zoom in, it does say PAMP. Zoom in better. Looks like 925. So this is like a sterling chain. There's this little ball here. In this mechanism, basically, you can put the flat side right through that little hole there, and it locks. Now, I have no idea what you would use for a chain this small. What is that? Is that like a type of keychain? Can't imagine it being a keychain because it just doesn't make sense. So, for lack of better term, I'm going to call this a charm, because it technically is sort of like a charm. I'd love to hear what you think this was used for, though, because that chain is unusual. Now, I will make a video someday about these PAMP charms. And are they keychains? It's an unusual looking keychain or mechanism for it. The half ounce. So it's got a blank side to it. That's why I'm including it in this video. I'll make a separate video on the charms I found with these little PAMP official chains some other time. And finally, here are some different size weights for PAMP made blank sided bars. The 20 gram on the left there is the one that used to be the most commonly found. I would see those available at least 2, 3, 4 times a year in the past. Lately, I have not seen them for sale at all. That's just inside a flip. That's not an official packaging whatsoever, but it has a blank side. So again, this is the most common one I would see of these bars. It's a little thick, so it doesn't fit in a capsule so well. Not the capsules I have anyway. So I just put it in a flip. So it has fine silver. That's fine silver in German. Notice the logo. That's the old style. So this was made before 1984. Actually, all of these were. Are these perhaps the oldest PAMP bars in existence? Maybe. That's just guessing. Were these made before Fortuna? It's possible. Or Fortuna was designed, did PAMP just make blank-sided bars? I don't know. So here's a 50 gram. I found this more recently, obtained it more recently. Just a blank-sided bar. Now that's just a flip again, because I like to protect my bars from handling as much as possible. And wear and tear, of course. And finally, this is the most recent one I was able to get that's blank-sided. It's the 100 grams. Now, this isn't an official mint seal, so that's the way it was packaged. That's a very, very thick 100 gram bar. And it's blank-sided. It's Really cool. So this is not your typical 100-gram bar size. It's just really thick. In fact, this 50-gram bar, it's basically the same size, just the thickness is different. And if we compare that, the 1-ounce bar, you'll see basically it's your standard size measurements for 1-ounce bar. It's just really thick. So that's a really cool find, I think. I have not seen another PAMP bar 100 grams that's this thick. So those are the blank-sided bars for silver that PAMP has made. I have seen gold ones as well that PAMP has made. Now, blank bars in general are just more rare and unusual for PAMP. They don't make them often. I think they're made mostly for special occasions, and in the past, like the distance past, as in these examples, these were made perhaps because they didn't have designs at the time. And of course, a lot of other mints did make blank-sided bars, so at the time it was popular to do so. It just was a thing to do, I'd say. That's it for this topic. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Take care.